page number 71. You can have a look into page number 71, segment 6, input tax credit. So you can see this question. Mr. Ashok, a registered supplier of hardware parts, supplied goods worth rupees 1,68,000 inclusive of CGST, SGST to measure Shah traders under forward charge. Forward charge means who will pay GST? Supplier will pay GST on 14/12/2020, for which tax invoice was also issued on the same date. But measure Shah traders failed to make the payment for such supply along with tax to the supplier and avail ITC of CGST, SGST of 18,000 as on 20/1/2021. Whether measure Shah trader is eligible to avail input tax credit on such supply. First of all, we need to understand that in input tax credit there are total 6 sections that are applicable for you. Section 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Section 16 talks about the conditions for availment of ITC. Section 17 about apportionment of credit and block credit. Section 18 input tax credit in special cases. Section 19 talks about goods like sent on job work, what is the treatment. Section 20 input service distributor. Section 21 also recovery of excess distributed credit by input service distributor. So 20 and 21 is related to concept of ISD. In that section 16, when it comes to section 16, we have in section 16 conditions for availment of ITC, 2 basic conditions. Only a registered person can avail ITC and that should be used or intended to be used in the course or furtherance of business. Section 16 subsection 2 says 4 conditions. That is, the inward supply should be, you should be having a possession of tax paid document. You should be in possession of tax paid document. You should have actually received the goods or services and your supplier should have paid the GST. How we know whether supplier paid GST or not? So the supplier will be reporting the transactions in GSTR1 and that GSTR1 there will be GSTR 2A 2B that will be made available to us. So in the GSTR 2A 2B auto populated from GSTR1 of supplier contains the details of inward supplies on which input tax credit is available. Then 4th condition is that you should have filed a return. Yes, we can take credit only when we file GSTR 3B. So these are the 4 conditions. Now, is there any condition that whenever we are making payment to supplier only we can take credit? No such condition. Out of these 6 conditions, 2 basic conditions and 4 additional conditions, again I am repeating 6 conditions. Number 1, only a registered person can take. Number 2, inward supply should be used or intended to be used in the course or furtherance of business. You should be in possession of the tax invoice and you should have actually received the goods or services, and your supplier should have paid the tax to government, means it should be matching. It should be reflected in GSTR 2A 2B, and last condition, you should have filed a return to take the credit. But nowhere it is a condition that only when recipient makes payment to the supplier, the recipient will be able to take the credit. No such condition is there, which means that the recipient can take the ITC in this case. Okay. Then when the ITC will be taken, how the ITC will be taken? ITC will be taken by entering the details of the input tax credit. For this input tax credit, GST paid on inward supply. Whatever GST that we pay on inward supply is known as input tax credit. So that data you need to enter in one place where GSTR 3B. In GSTR 3B, GSTR 3B is a return that will be filed by every registered person that contains 5 details. That is outward supplies, GST payable, inward supplies, GST paid, and interest computation. So in that place you need to mention how much is the input tax credit. So that much of the input tax credit you will be able to take. Okay. Now any month whenever invoice is received, for that month when we will file GSTR 3B, what is the due date of GSTR 3B? GSTR 3B due date is 20th of the month following every month. And if you are covered under QRMP, 22nd or 24th. So what is the due date of GSTR 3B? 20th of the month following every month. And if you are covered under QRMP, 22nd or 24th. For whom it is 22nd? Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, then Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh. In India map, you remember Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh. So all states below that, those states and below that states, it will be 22nd. and all the states above that, it will be 24th. Okay, so that is the time limit by which GSTR 3B needs to be filed. So whenever you are filing GSTR 3B, in that you will be mentioning the ITC. Now here in this question, what is the date of invoice? The date of invoice is 14/12/2020. So 14/12/2020 means, so when the ITC would have been availed, next month 20th. So generally GSTR 3B due date is 20th. So therefore they are taking credit on 20/1/2021. Okay, and whether that credit they can take, yes they can take, because the conditions for availment of ITC, there is no such condition that, so they should have made the payment, then only they can take ITC, so therefore they can take the credit. Now there is one provision which says that if the recipient is not making payment to supplier within 180 days from the date of invoice, for example, I am the supplier, you are my recipient, and the recipient is not making payment to the supplier within 180 days from the date of invoice, then so much of the ITC availed by the recipient needs to be reversed along with interest at the rate of 18% per annum. From when to when? From the date of availment till the date of reversal. Got it? So I am supplier, you are recipient. I gave you invoice. What is the date on which I gave invoice? 14/12/2020. Now you should make payment to me within 180 days from the date of invoice. Okay, so check what is 180 days from the date of invoice. So 14/12/2020 pa 14/12/2020 plus 180 days plus 180 days. So don't add 14. So exclude 14. So in December 31 minus 14. Okay, so that is what 16 days, 16 days or 17 days. So you add that, then February, March, like that you count. So therefore in December, how many days? In the month of December, so 31 minus 14, 17 days. And in the month of Jan, 31 days. In the month of Feb, 28 days. In the month of March, 31 days. In the month of April, 30 days. In the month of May, so that is 31 days. Now so far how many days? So how many days here so far? So 30, so 150, here it is 150, 151, so 160, so 168 days. Now what is the baki number of days? So out of 180 days, so 167 days, so 12. So therefore June 12th is the 180th day. So June 12th is 180th day. Okay, so therefore by 180th day, whether the payment is made or not, you check. So but Messrs. Share traders fail to make the payment for such supply along with tax to the supplier, which means that, so by June 12th if the payment is not made, then for June month we will file one GSTR 3B na. In that GSTR 3B we need to reverse the credit. Okay, so for June month when we will file GSTR 3B? By 20th of July. So in the 20th of July whenever we file GSTR 3B, in that we need to show that as a reversal. So what is the date of availment of ITC? 20th Jan. What is the date of reversal of ITC? 20th July. Now for that period we need to compute the interest. So you can see this. So input tax credit, first on which date we will avail? 21. What is the credit? Input tax credit 18,000. So date of invoice 14/12 and 12th June is the 180th day. If the payment is not made by 180th day, so much of the ITC availed will be reversed. Okay, so what is the month in which it will be reversed? June month. June month when we will reverse? When we file 3B for June. When we will file 3B for June? 20th July. So for this period we need to compute the interest. So interest will be computed from 20th Jan. That is, don't include 20th Jan. So the next day you take. What is it next day? That is 21st Jan. So in January 11 days. And in February it is 28 days. March 31, April 30, May 31, June 30, and in July 20 days. So it will be 181 days. For this 181 days, we need to do the computation of interest. Okay. Interest is payable on what? Interest is payable to government on what? GST. So ITC, how much ITC you took on that? So how much ITC this person has taken? So 18,000. So 1,68,000, CGST 9,000, SGST 9,000 means 18,000. So on that 18,000 interest is computed. Interest is not computed on value plus tax. Interest is computed on the tax component which is taken as ITC. Okay. So 18,000 into, what is the rate of interest? 18% into 181 divided by 365. So 1,607 needs to be reversed. Okay. Therefore, 18,000 needs to be reversed and 1,607 needs to be paid as interest. Sir, 18,000 you will deduct from the input tax credit, which means that is adjustment to the electronic credit ledger. Whatever is the credit that you have, that balance will come down. Whereas interest you cannot pay using credit ledger. That interest you need to pay using cash ledger. Don't forget this. So credit ledger we will reverse 18,000 and that 1,607 you need to pay through cash ledger. Now thereafter, whenever we make the payment, can we take the credit of that 18,000? Yes, we can take the credit of 18,000, but the 1,607 cannot be taken as credit. Why that 1,607 cannot be taken as credit? Because that 1,607 is the interest liability that cannot be taken as credit, which means in this entire process, what is the loss? The loss is only with respect to 1,607. Understood here? So this is with respect to this.